Hi, and welcome to another episode of Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Ryan Mackenzie, and today we're here at the American Red Cross location in the Lehigh Valley. They have a fantastic new location. It's incredible. We're going to get a tour, and I'm joined by their executive director. Tell us a little bit about what you do here at the American Red Cross and your fantastic new location.
Terrific. Well, thank you. First, thank you so much for coming out to spend some time with us today and give us an opportunity to showcase the facility. My name's Peter Brown. I'm the executive director of the Greater Lehigh Valley chapter. I've been in this position with the Red Cross for a little over 2 years, but prior to that I had spent almost 14 years here in the Valley as a volunteer and a chapter board member. So I've had great experiences over time with the Red Cross and really excited to have the opportunity to work on the staff. Our team here delivers services in Lehigh, Northampton, and Bucks County, and we partner and cooperate with chapters in the other counties in the surrounding areas.
Well, it's great, and you came in as a volunteer and then are now on staff. That's a big part of the program here with volunteers and full-time paid staff members. How does that break down?
The mission of the American Red Cross is delivered primarily by volunteers. Over 90% of our workforce is volunteer. We couldn't do what we do and support the community without the volunteers that we have. In Lehigh County, we have over 250 volunteers. In the chapter, we have over 700. There are thousands and thousands across the country. And they help us with everything from disaster response to running shelters to working as a reception volunteer and answering the phone in the afternoon so that a staff member can work with a client. They come in and help us stock shelves. They help us put together care kits for disaster response. And they're also very active. We have volunteers who work as reserves that will only come and help us when there's a major response that's needed. So they might be trained as a shelter worker. So we never know from day to day what's going to happen. One of the things that I had to get used to and that everyone in the Red Cross is used to is your day can change in a heartbeat. If we get a phone call that there's a major fire or an incident and we're needed, we go.
Sure.
So that's very different than, every Monday is the staff meeting and every Wednesday is this. So it's an environment where people have to be able to adapt and work together, and our new space helps us do that. It's designed to encourage teamwork and collaboration.
Right, and you talked about the volunteers who are in reserves for those larger scale disasters, and I think that's what people always think of the American Red Cross as being involved in, is the large scale disaster recovery efforts. But you do a lot more than that. You do things on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
What are some of those things?
We have a lot of activity, you're correct. Most people, when I talk with them, they know about the Red Cross because we helped during Hurricane Sandy. On a day-to-day basis, one of our major emphases here in the Valley is we respond to home fires. You're talking with people who may have lost everything. We respond to over 100 home fires in Lehigh and Northampton County every year, providing that immediate support. It's as simple as a stuffed animal for a child and a blanket for the mother or father or other family member, to providing them with immediate support for food, shelter, and clothing. And then we have caseworkers who will sit down with that family and start to talk through, what do you need? Do you have prescription medications, eyeglasses? One of the services we provide that I didn't know about was helping people coordinate to get car keys. You left your cars parked in the driveway, but your keys were in the house is gone. So even things that you don't think about are really critical for recovery. We work with a client family for 60 to 90 to 120 days. Another major emphasis for us now is helping communities and families be better prepared for disaster. So we offer programming from preschool through senior citizens in a variety of formats to help people understand the basics of being prepared. Not too surprising, communities that have had a disaster are much more receptive to then getting involved with preparedness training.
Absolutely, and emergency preparedness, disaster preparedness, something that we should be cognizant of all year round and think about all year long. But there is a special time of year when we try to focus that and highlight it for individuals in the community. What month is that, and when are we getting near that?
Well, we're coming up to September, which is National Emergency Preparedness Month. So it's not just a Red Cross event. It involves emergency preparedness responders and government, local and state and federal agencies who are actively involved in disaster. So a key part of that is having a home plan, so you know if you have a fire in your home, what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. So there will be events all over the Lehigh Valley during the month of September and beyond to encourage people to take some time now when the power's on and you know where your kids are and the school isn't closed, to be ready so that when something happens, it's a matter of 3 to 5 minutes and you're out of the home and you have what you need to to deal with whatever comes next.
Sure. Well, great. Peter, thank you for introducing us to some of these new topics that we weren't familiar with about the Red Cross, and also re-enlightening us on some of those other big things that you do, all of the great work that you do for our community. Thank you. We're in this beautiful new location, a large room here. Tell us what goes on in this part of the building.
Yep. Well, this is our main work area. So this is where staff and volunteers work together on a daily basis. We've got 18 workstations. We have about 5 stations that are sort of adopted by staff members who are here every day, but then we have stations available for the volunteers who come in, and also it's all set up for wireless and wired connectivity, so our staff and volunteers from across the region that come here can work in this space. So it gives us a lot of opportunity to collaborate, to hear a little bit more about what's going on in other areas that may not be your primary responsibility. And the other thing about this space is that it was set up specifically so that it can be easily converted to an emergency ops center if we have to do a major response. So we have additional data ports, additional power plugs, way more than we need for the day-to-day operation. So if we needed to convert this and bring 30 to 50 people in here to run an operation where we might be doing sheltering in multiple locations, working closely with the local emergency management, we can switch this center over in a matter of a few hours.
A large space, open environment, lots of natural light, so a great place for employees to work.
Yeah, we like it very much.
That's great. All right, well, so we're going to go take a look at the rest of the building that you have here and check out the tour.
Terrific.
All right, Peter, we've made our way over to the common area, another open air space and concept here in the American Red Cross new location here in the Lehigh Valley. Tell us what you use this area for.
So this is kind of neat for us because this was new. In all the settings all of us had worked in before, we didn't really have anything like this. So this big table in this area is sort of for stand-up meetings. We use it a lot for meetings with the staff. But the staff also regularly, hey, I'm going to eat at 11:30. Why don't you join me? Because the building's fully wireless, so you can continue to work, check email, whatever. We have these great whiteboards around the facility, so we can capture ideas and share. They're magnetic, so they're really cool because then you can use them for bulletin board and for whiteboarding. And then on this side of the space, which is part of the open area we were just in, there's not a lot of privacy, and that's by design. So then when we need to work with a client or we need to do a conference call or a WebEx, we have 6 of these breakout rooms on this floor where you can either reserve a space or just grab a room that's open. So you can plug in, you can have a one-on-one meeting, a group of 3 or 4, and it just gives you great flexibility with how you want to use the space in the building.
Well, that's great. It seems like there was a lot of thought put into the layout of the space and how these different areas would be used, and that's part of a national push.
Right. So where we're standing right now was a wall in the original building, and the idea with this is because we're such a collaborative, all of our work is so collaborative across disaster and fundraising and service to the armed forces, and we have so many volunteers who come in and out on a regular basis. The open workspace sort of encourages the teamwork and the open communication, and then you have the ability to go to the private areas. So a lot of larger companies, Google, Intel, some of them have pioneered this, so we're not on that scale. But we had a lot of support from our national real estate. We've had numerous people come out and visit the site to see how it's working. So we're tweaking a few things. We're looking at some issues with storage and maintaining good privacy when we need it. But I think it's been very successful, and we're really excited. We're kind of the beneficiaries of that effort because it really enabled us to get a super facility here in the Lehigh Valley.
Absolutely. Well, that is very exciting to see that the American Red Cross at the national level is on the leading edge of these new initiatives in workplace. And so we're going to continue the tour. Where are we headed next?
We're going to go down, and I'm going to show you our training facility in the basement because training is a huge part of what we do as an organization.
All right, let's go see it. All right, Peter, we've made our way down to the training area here at the new location. Tell us what this room's used for.
So this room is part of the new tech that we've been able to bring in as part of that idea to modernize our approach. So right behind you is a MediaScape machine, and this allows up to 4 people to connect laptops. You can also use it for video conferencing, and since we cover such a wide geography, it's a great tool that we're starting to learn how to use and integrate into our meetings and planning. So this breakout room can handle about 8 to 10 people. So we have a lot of small committees and disaster groups that work, and this is going to be a great opportunity for them to leverage the tech.
Oh, great. So that's a fantastic new opportunity.
Fantastic new opportunity. We're kind of field testing it for the Red Cross, and so far we really think it's a great addition to enabling us to work more effectively together.
Very exciting. So we have some other spaces down here in the training area that we're going to check out also.
So this is our main training space, and The beauty of this space, it's a little bit of an odd configuration because of the way we had to do the renovation, but the equipment is really specialized. These are powered tables that can be linked and plugged in so that you can reconfigure the space any way you need it. So we can do a CPR class here for 12 people, have 2 rows of training tables, and then have the open space for the work with the mannequins. We hosted a hurricane preparedness exercise here. We did in conjunction with PEMA in July. We had 45 disaster volunteers in here for 4 days. So we have a kitchen facility on the other side, but we could reconfigure the space so that we do our board meetings here, we can do emergency response here. And this is really built like a bunker. Everything down here is solid concrete. So earlier this summer, we had a tornado watch. It actually touched down not far from here, so we were able to come down, continue to work, but be in a secure location. So for the type of work that we do, that's really important. So this space gives us a tremendous amount of flexibility. We deliver paid and volunteer training here. We also have an emergency generator that's outside, so we can power the critical functions of the building if we do have an extensive power outage, and we could continue to offer programs and continue to be a base for our volunteers.
Absolutely. So a great new space, a lot of modern technology for your training. And before we move on, I do want to just hit on and highlight some of this iconography that you have from your history of the American Red Cross. How do you tie in the old with the new here?
Well, we're very proud of the fact that the Red Cross is one of the oldest nonprofits. We were founded in 1881 by Clara Barton, truly an American pioneer who just felt passionately that an organization dedicated to helping others was needed. So we have throughout the building reproductions of historic posters going back to the First World War. We also have some archive things for the chapter that we're getting ready to put out to go back. This chapter was founded in 1917.
Okay.
So we have documents and other things to help support people's understanding of that. So we're very proud of our heritage. And I think this building is a really good example of how an organization that has that kind of tradition can adapt and modernize itself to stay current and relevant more than a century later. It's really exciting.
All right, well, that's fantastic. The next stop on our tour?
We're going to go out and I'm going to show you our disaster staging area in our garage, and the facility's terrific for what we do.
All right, fantastic. Let's check it out. Peter, we've made our way out to the garage now, and 5,000 square feet of area that you can use to store materials, some of your vehicles.
Yep.
Just a fantastic resource for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the key things when we first saw the site. We knew that for our combination of client support, training, and disaster response, this facility was a great box for us to work in. So the supplies we're looking at, these are things that we use for disaster response. We have snacks that we give to families. We always provide water. And then there's the secure facilities for training supplies. We're a regional depot, so we have supplies here for health, first aid, and safety training across the whole region. Trainers come in and out and pick up what they need and then bring everything back. So it's all secure. We have room inside here to park all of our vehicles.
Yep.
And in the winter, we'll be able to keep everything under cover.
Absolutely. And so there are some very impressive vehicles here. This large one that we're next to right now, a disaster relief truck. Tell us a little bit about this and what you would use this for.
In the Red Cross, this is what's called an ERV, which is an emergency response vehicle. So for us, it's a place where we can go and have a working hub at the site of a disaster. So for a home fire, we can take it out. It's set up with the ability to prepare food, to do coffee, but there's tables and meeting space so we can work with a client, get them out of the environment. I had an opportunity last winter to go out on a call to Easton, bitterly cold. And we had the members of the family in the thing, and just being able to give them something to drink, get them out of the cold, and be able to start working with them on recovery. So these vehicles, which we get through the generosity of our donors, enable us to be ready for response.
And so a truck like this obviously does cost a lot of money. You mentioned donors. How important are your donors to your ongoing operations?
We exist because of the generosity of the American public. And what's important for people to know is that we need funding when there's a disaster, but we also need funding when there's not a disaster, so that we're always going to be prepared and able to go out when we need to go.
All right. Well, I just want to thank you again, Peter, for showing us around your new facility. And for everybody on Legislative Report, we always like to help the community. If you'd like to get involved by either volunteering or donating to the Red Cross, that information will be on the screen at the end of the show. And please make sure to join us again on another episode of Legislative Report.